Alrighty then, hey there guys, this is Norris, and we are back for another session of Dead Space. When we last left off, I believe we started to reroute power and get stuff back to the ADS to get it online and functioning again. We also ran into two brutes, so you know, that was nice. So yeah, we just gotta go through this elevator again. But I think instead of going down this time, we head up and we go to the actual ADS cannon. I'm just kind of bracing myself for anything. I mean, especially after what happened last time. Okay. So anyways, yeah, creepy dude there, and if my memory serves... Yes! Yes! Force gun! Oh, I love this gun. It is awesome. So we are going to head back down, so that way we can go to the store down there, so that way we can actually get the force gun, because the force gun is amazing and awesome, and I love it. It's just really, really good for a lot of scenarios. I don't know, it doesn't generally seem to kill necromorphs through the actual use of severing and dismembering, but more of just blunt force trauma. So there may be some instances where it seems like it takes more ammunition to dispatch enemies, but there are definitely a lot of scenarios in which it would definitely be a good idea to have it. I mean, especially with those smaller variants of the necromorphs, the little spawn, I don't really know what they're called, they're like the slugs that just sort of crawl around everywhere. They're very, very effective for those types of necromorphs, so yeah, it's always a good idea to use it against that, those like... hang on, let me see if I can actually formulate this sentence correctly. Against that specific type of necromorph, because, you know, it's a one-hit kill regardless, and because the force gun is sort of a wide area sort of attack, and they're generally bunched up together, you can usually get rid of all of them in about 1 or 2 shots, so it's definitely a lot more effective than having to use, I don't know, like 20 to get rid of all of them. But yes, I really like the force gun, but I'd still say my favorite is the plasma cutter. The plasma cutter is just, you know, the all-around weapon. I am always, in these types of games, I'm usually always a fan of the all-around type of weapon. The one that doesn't really have too many strengths, or too good of strengths, but doesn't really have any weaknesses either. Just very balanced and useful in pretty much every situation. That's the type of thing that I like to go for.
This is Temple. The bridge is fucked. I don't know what went on in there, but I'm not sticking around in case whatever did it comes back. I'm heading for hydroponics to find Elizabeth.
Okay. I imagine what did that to the bridge would be the brutes, who, if you remember correctly, we decided to name Bruce. And if my memory serves me correctly, yep. See, like I said, it's very useful against the pregnants, because it doesn't directly open up the sack of spawn. You do have to be careful not to get too close, though, because if you get too close while using the... Oh, this guy is even tougher than the freaking advanced... There we go! You don't really want to get too close, because if you do, then the actual force will end up tearing open the belly anyways, so it would be kind of pointless. I could have sworn I picked up some force energy, I don't know, maybe the pregnant used up so many shots that I ended up having to reload and still use up a lot of that ammunition. I'm not entirely sure when you pick up the schematics for force ammunition, but
Asteroid defense system now online.
It'll definitely be something that's useful.
Power, but the ADS cannon's auto targeting is down. I think it's a faulty data cable. I need you to aim the cannon manually until I can replace it. Take the elevator to the top of the ship and head for the cannon pit.
Okay, so ADS, I believe, stands for Automated Defense System. Although it's really more of a DS right now, defense systems. It's not entirely automated. As Hammond just explained, probably something faulty with a cable of some sort that doesn't allow it to automatically aim and destroy any oncoming debris. So we will have to go and do that ourselves, which I believe there is an achievement for that, where if you do perform decent with the ADS cannon, I think it's if you have at least 50% hull integrity left after you completed that segment, then you'll get the achievement. It's one of the tougher achievements. Again, it's because you tend to get swarmed a lot. Gotta be careful with these corners. I do not like these
Isaac,
situations.
you're going to have to cross the ship exterior to reach the ADS cannon. Problem is, we're still getting bombarded by asteroids. Look for cover, or you'll get torn to pieces.
So, again, just as Hammond said, because we're currently going through an asteroid field, a lot of the debris is hitting the hull. So, say we were to walk across the hull when a bunch of debris is flying towards it. I mean, in space, you know, even today, well, of course today, they're just, it's very dangerous to be in space, because even just the slightest tear in the suit and you're dead, that's it, you're gone. So you have to be very careful about debris, especially today. But yeah, the debris is really hammering the ship in this scenario. So generally what I like to do is I like to wait for it to finish all of that and then get into a position to where it won't let me. But what I like to do is I like to leap across so that way I can cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. I believe that's an oxygen tank right there, so to make up for the fact that I wasted a bit of time trying to go for the jump but the game wouldn't let me, I'll just sit here and wait for it to finish with another barrage and then just recharge my oxygen and then go for another leap. So now we play the waiting game. You know, like I said, this is just one of those scenarios where you are going to be spending a lot of time in vacuum, but fortunately they gave you a lot of oxygen tanks, so you do have a means of replenishing your oxygen. And there we go. See, I covered a lot of ground very quickly, so, you know, you don't really need the oxygen tanks, but, you know, there's still something nice to have just as a precaution, I suppose. Should be able to make it without too many worries. Just gonna wait for this barrage to end and then pretty much just make a run for it. Basically what I'm planning on doing is, okay, it seems like it's done, so I'm gonna leap here and I'm gonna make a jump here. And we're good. So, you know, crossing it, not really too much of a problem. You know, use the zero gravity to your advantage to be able to make quick leaps across, will the door hurry up and close? Thank you. Ah, ruby semiconductor. These are nice. They're worth 10,000. So basically, it's just like getting a free plasma node, power node. Sorry, I'm just so convinced that everything is named plasma in this game. I don't know why. But yeah, like I said, use the zero gravity to your advantage. Use it to cross large sections of that area very quickly, so that way you don't have to waste too much time waiting in between each strike.
That's it, Isaac. You're in the pit. The cannon's a mass driver, so it should punch through anything flying at us. Keep an eye on the hull's integrity. Too many of those things get by, and we're dead. I think I've almost got the system repaired. Just buy me a little more time.
So the thing about this thing is it actually overheats very easily, so you cannot just, you know, go spray crazy and just expect everything to be fine. You have to actually be very conservative if you want to do well with this sort of thing. Generally, it's not too much of a big deal if you get hit by the smaller asteroids. It's really the bigger ones that you have to worry about, like these guys. They do a lot of damage. It's been, I don't know, like a year since I last done this, so I'm not quite as spry as I used to be. Because I think in the last time, that's actually when I got the achievement. See, I'm already at 6.
Just one more minute. It should be fully operational.
Already below 50%. The nice thing about it is that you can just let some asteroids go and they'll actually miss the hull, so you don't have to worry too much about that. You know, like I said, just be very, very cautious with where you aim. Be sure to prioritize your targets, and you should be good. Even though I'm not really doing all too well now. Generally, it's better to focus more on groups instead of individual asteroids off by themselves, because it would end up saving you from taking more damage, because it's generally worth it more in terms of health to take one hit than it would be to take like 3 or 4. So if you see one off by itself, you know, just let it fly by. If you have a cluster coming by, focus on the cluster and all that. Alright, and we're good.
Nice shooting, Isaac.
So now even if it smacks into us, for some reason the hull integrity doesn't go down.
Clear, I'll engage the autopilot again. Head to the tram station, and I'll meet you there when I'm done.
Alright. So, yep. Now that the ADS is now fully functioning again, we don't really have to worry too much about hull integrity or things of the like. And the great thing about that is now we can pretty much just go through this area without having to worry about being bombarded with asteroids. But the downside is that you do have to deal with necromorphs. The asteroids were what were keeping the necromorphs off of this part of the ship, and since they are gone, well, you can just run right past them if you don't really feel like dealing with them, which, you know, I don't really feel like dealing with them. So I just tend to leap past them all the time, not really pay much attention to them. So, up. And we're good. So, gonna wait for that to close. Alright. Like I said, I do not trust these corners.
Wait! Isaac Hammond.
I hate you, Kendra.
You're not gonna believe this. Oxygen levels are falling. Something's poisoning hydroponics air production, and whatever it is, it's filling the deck up with that organic stuff. We're not going to have any air to breathe soon. But if I understand these lab reports correctly, I think I can make a poison to destroy it. Head to medical. It should have everything you need.
Will this never end? Isaac, get to medical and mix together whatever Kendra's come up with. I'm heading to hydroponics. If I can slow it down, that might keep us breathing long enough to fight it.
Am I the only person who... I mean, I like Hammond, because, you know, he's pretty cool, and he at least does stuff. I mean, Kendra's pretty much just sitting there going, hey, such and such is wrong with this ship, go fix it. Hey, now this is wrong with the ship, go fix that. She does nothing but tell you what to do. I mean, at least Hammond goes out and at least attempts to help you in some way. And he's actually pretty successful in helping you in a lot of scenarios. Kendra just kind of sits there and complains. She contributes nothing! And if my memory serves correctly... Yep. I do not like those things. I think what it is that they just took like individual body parts, you know, like you can pretty clearly tell that that's supposed to be a head. So they're just taking individual body parts now and actually transforming those into things that are designed to kill. It's reminiscent of something else, I'm not entirely sure. But it was a movie, I can't really remember what the title was, but basically it was this biological creature who was completely designed for every single aspect of them to be designed to kill. Like I said, I can't really remember what it's a very generalization. It's a very general generalization, blah blah blah, bit of a redundant statement, but you know what I mean. Because, you know, there are a lot of movies that actually fit the description, but There's one specific movie that I'm trying to remember, but the name escapes me. And if I'm correct... Yep. And there's one behind me. So screw yourself. And if my memory serves me correctly again... Huh. I guess it doesn't serve me correctly. Yeah, that's kind of the moment that I was waiting for when I was constantly checking the corners when I headed over here for the store. Always looking out for those necromorphs that like to sneak up behind you when you're shopping. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So sell that. Do we have any force ammunition? Or whatever it's called? Force energy. Force energy. Do we have any of that? No? Alright, I guess that reloads. Yep, not reload. But, yeah, it would be very nice if I could get the schematics for the force energy very soon, because, let's see, I believe it costs 900 for 3 rounds, which isn't really all that bad if you know, upgrade it, because it can output a lot of damage and really make each shot really count. So, you know, the ammo is cheap and it has quite a large damage potential, so it's a very, very nice gun. So here, just going to put these nodes into the plasma cutter. I guess when I get some more, I can start working more towards this HP bar as well. I don't know, I guess I'm kind of focusing more on maxing out HP and upgrading specific weapons like the plasma cutter. I should start working on the force gun. Should start working on that. Really get it up there, because at the point in which it is now, I mean, it took, what, like 6 or 7 shots just to kill one of those pregnants. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of damage output for the enemies that we're facing, or starting to face now, so it really would be a good idea to start focusing more on it, because I pretty much have a very strong plasma cutter. It's already very powerful, and I don't really need to focus on it too much anymore. Health, I don't know, I think I have enough for what I need right now. I mean, I'm not even halfway through the game, and I'm already, I already have 3/4 of the maximum possible health you can obtain, so, you know, I should probably start focusing more on the force gun. I think there are 12 chapters, so, you know, we're about 1/3 of the way through the game. At least by chapter standards. I'm not entirely sure. I know that there's one chapter. I think it's chapter 7. Chapter 7 is actually a pretty long chapter in itself. But then you have some rather short chapters where you don't really have to do too much.
Shit. Isaac, I can smell the contaminated air from here. It's spreading faster than I expected. I'm trying to isolate it, but it's not going to buy us much time. We have to get that thing off this ship. The chemicals you need are in the chemistry lab. I'll hack the door for you when you get there.
Why not hack it now, so that way I don't have to wait for you to unlock it?
You can't stand in the way of God's plan, the natural order. Are you blind, left to rest?
Alright, so now we're starting to run into some survivors.
Looks like someone has reprogrammed the door locks on this deck. And recently, too. I guess we're not alone here after all. Someone doesn't want you in this part of the ship.
Yep. That person who was just talking about God's plan and all that, I get the feeling we're not really going to like him very much. In fact, I would have to say Chapter 5 is one of my least favorite chapters. That, along with Chapter 10, I believe. It may seem strange now as to why, but it will make sense very, very soon. I am not looking forward to this. So we head back through here. And if memory serves... Yep. And they're being very generous with the pulse rounds, but it's the force energy that I prefer to have. Yep. Looks like they're starting to introduce that variant of the necromorph. You know, these necromorphs are very disturbing in my opinion. Partially because they do that, they actually give birth to necromorphs, like a never-ending stream of necromorphs. It's just disturbing in my opinion. I mean, how they're welded to the wall, and you can clearly see the. They're just very disturbing in my opinion. I do not like these guys. Oh, and something else about them. If you get near them, instant death. That's pretty much just how it is. If you get close to them, they lash out at you with the tentacles and rip your head off. So probably not the best idea to go near them. If memory serves... Yep. For not playing this game for a while, I'm actually doing pretty well in remembering stuff. Just gonna go on ahead and do that. Especially considering they introduced the recombinators, I believe they are referred to. Very nice timing with that stasis, if I do say so myself.
You're close to the chemistry station. Once you get the chemicals, you're also going to need a DNA sample of the alien tissue. I'll search the records for one.
Okay, and we are starting to get at that certain time, so I believe I will go on ahead and call it here. So, hope you enjoyed this session, and I will see you later.